Hey besties, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another TBR video. Today we're going to be going through my December TBR. I know I didn't post like anything in November, but I have a lot of videos planned out in December, so I will be putting out more content. I finished finals at the beginning of December for the semester, so I'll have plenty of free time to do more videos. I wanted to do something a little different for this TBR video because the past 2 months now I did my TBR jar, and so I thought for December I'd probably do a lot of mood reading, and so I thought I'll just choose like my TBR and then just talk about it and like why I chose certain books and give you guys all the details and stuff. But I think it'll be better if I just choose this TBR and then mood read throughout the month. So most of the books that I chose for my TBR, I chose 7 books first of all. I chose 7 books. Most of them are fantasy, because it's winter time, so I primarily gravitate towards the fantasy books. But I have a few non-fantasy if I'm like wanting to take a little breather, take a little break. I have 1 romance and then 1 mystery thriller. So first up, we'll start with the romance. I chose The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I had this on my TBR last month, but I really want to read this one like soon because I want to read The Christmas Tree Farm in December. I feel like if you get outside of December and try reading The Christmas Tree Farm, it's not the right mood or vibe for that. So I really want to read both of them this month technically, but I'm going to put this one on my TBR to like really propel me to get to the next one. If you don't know, this is the second book in the Dream Harbor series. In this, you're following Hazel and Noah, and they both appeared in the first book. And in this, Hazel owns the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, and I guess Noah like leaves notes and makes like a scavenger hunt within the bookstore, but I don't think Hazel knows that he's leaving those notes, and she like recruits him to help her figure out who's leaving the notes. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's kind of the premise of this book, and it sounds really cute. I thought the first one was really cute. I gave it like a 4 stars, so I'm gonna put this on the TBR for just a fun, cute romance. Okay, next up, I have 1 mystery thriller. I have chosen Good Girl, Bad Blood by Holly Jackson. This is the second book in the Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. I read the first book like over the summer. I think I read it maybe the beginning of August because the show was coming out, season 1 was coming out, and I really wanted to read it before I saw the show, which I love the book. I love all of Holly Jackson's books I've read. I've read Five Survive and the reappearance of Rachel Price as well. Holly Jackson's like the queen of towing the line between YA and adult mystery thrillers. But I think her writing style is amazing. I'm really excited to dive into this one and follow Pip and Ravi a little more and be prepared for season 2 because if you don't know, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder was renewed for a season 2 and they're currently in production. So very excited for that and excited to eventually read this one. So that is all for the non-fantasy. I have 5 fantasy books. The next 2 are both novellas. So they are shorter. They're not like a full-length book, which makes them a little more digestible, makes them a little bit like a breather sort of thing. So let's get into those. So the first novella I'm going to talk about is Six Scorched Roses by Carissa Broadbent. I actually read Serpent in the Wings of Night in November. I read it in November, which you will see in my November wrap up. But I really, really enjoyed it. And I know this does not follow the 2 main characters from the Nightborn duet. However, it is technically book 1.5. And so I kind of want to read it in like the designated reading order. So I plan on reading this before jumping into book 2. I don't really know like anything about this book. I know it follows like a different character. Her name's Lilith, according to the back of the book. But I'm excited to like jump into that and learn a little bit about Lilith. Hopefully Lilith shows back up later in the series and then we can dive into her story. The next novella on my TBR is one that I've been waiting. I've been pushing off for December because it's kind of holiday inspired. I mean, it is a holiday novella, and that is Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. If you don't know, this is the most recent released book. I mean, it's a novella. It's book like 3.5, after the Caraval trilogy by Stephanie Garber. I absolutely love that trilogy, and I'm really excited to read this novella because I adore the characters and I'm just ready to dive back into that world. I have been kind of pushing this off because my best friend and I are gonna like make this like our book club book for December. So I've been waiting and holding off on reading this, but I'm very excited to dive into this and read this and just go back into that world in a fun, short holiday novella. So the next three books are all like continuations in a series, so I can't really talk about too much about like the actual plot of them, but I can talk about how much I've enjoyed them. So first up we have Nightbane by Alex Astor. This is the second book in the Lightlark saga. If you don't know, the third book just came out, and Alex Astor has actually announced two more books to come out next year for this saga. In the first book, you're kind of following. Well, okay, no. Basically, there's this island called Lightlark, and every 100 years, these six rulers basically like congregate there and have to like undergo different tasks and trials, and by the end of it they have to sacrifice one of the rulers in order to break the curse on all of them. But who's going to volunteer to be sacrificed? Like no one's going to do that. So yeah, the first book left off, if I remember correctly, it left off with a cliffhanger. I honestly don't remember too much, but I'm gonna dive into this and hope that it triggers my memory and I actually remember what was going on, because at this given point, I can't remember too much. I do know, before you ask, I am Team Grimm, so don't come at me. I am Team Grimm. There's something about Grimm that Oro just doesn't have. I love Grimm, so sorry if you're Team Oro. Sorry if you wanted me to be Team Oro. It's just not happening. That's not how this works. But excited to continue this series. I actually have the third book, so maybe I'll get to both books this month. Who knows? Who knows what could happen in this month? We'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we have a continuation of a series I actually started in November and have quickly become obsessed with. I wasn't expecting to become obsessed with it, and you'll hear all about it in my wrap up, but that is the Zodiac Academy series, and I am going to put the third book, The Reckoning, on my TBR. I have had the first book for like, I don't know, a year and a half now and hadn't picked it up, and then one of my friends convinced me to read it, and I did, and I spiraled and became obsessed with the series and needed to get every book. I don't have every book. That's an exaggeration. But I am really excited to continue the series, and I will be putting the third one on my TBR because I really want to read this. I actually have the third and fourth book, so I want to like get pretty far in the series in November. I'm putting out so many like ambitious statements, but you know, we'll see what happens in December. We'll just see. It's mood reading month. But I'm going to put this on my TBR because I'm really excited to continue the series. So, if you've read the series, let me know what you think. If you haven't read this series but are intrigued, I highly recommend trying it out. It's so entertaining. It's like pure entertainment is how I would describe it. But yeah, very excited to continue this series. Finally, on the TBR, the last book of the month. I've put this on my TBR before and didn't read it, but I really would like to get further in this series before the end of the year. So we're going to put this on the TBR, and that is Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This book is like massive to hold, so I apologize if this looks weird. I started this series like over the summer, and I read books. Well, I read the prequel all the way through book three, like back to back practically, and I think I just needed a little bit of a break, and I'm really like wanting to get back into this and like finish out the series and do all that. And so I'm going to put this on my TBR. I hope to get to it because I would like to continue and then make my way to Crescent City and then complete my Massiverse reading journey. But I really adore the series. I think it's an amazing storyline. I think the series is like amazing in terms of its storyline, character development, the romance, like even the action sequences and everything is just very, very well done. And I love this series and I definitely want to be continuing it. If you have not read the Throne of Glass series, you should read the Throne of Glass series. If you read the first two and were like, I don't know how I feel about it, continue the series. Just continue the series. I know a lot of people say that the first two are like not as good for them. I enjoyed them a lot, but some people don't enjoy the first two as much as the rest of the series. I would continue it if I were you. If you like high fantasy, high stakes with some romance thrown in there, Sarah J. Maas is for you. I highly recommend the Throne of Glass series, so we will be putting this on the TBR. So we have 7 books on the TBR. I don't know why I just took that long pause, but we'll go with it. So we have, in reverse order, Queen of Shadows, The Reckoning, Nightbane, Spectacular, Six Scorched Roses, Good Girl Bad Blood, The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. So these are the 7 books I've chosen for my TBR this month. I didn't want to do another TBR jar video, wanted to mix it up a little, but I didn't necessarily have any other way. I was like really feeling, and I was really feeling like mood reading for the month of December. So I was like, I'll just pick books to put on my TBR that I really want to read this month, and then we'll go from there. And we'll see if I complete more of my TBR this month than I do on previous months. Always a goal of mine. But at least like all of these are continuing series. I mean, once I read Spectacular, then that series is done. So that would be nice. It'll help with my series problem. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to like it, leave a comment if you've read any of these books, if you've read any of the series, if there's something you think I should read that I would like based on my taste, if there's something you think I wouldn't like that you want to see me read and react to, then that would be interesting. That would be like a whole fun video to do. Make sure you hit the little subscribe button and the little notification bell so you can stay up to date on all my content, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.